Shalom, family. Glory be to God, and blessed be the Lamb forever, ever. Glory be to God, the one found worthy, and the only one found worthy, sit upon the throne forever. Well, you know, I had a question for myself, but the question's been out there a minute. How does it feel to be me? How does it feel to be me? And when I explored the question, I found it remarkable because I don't know. I don't know. It's it's become akin to a parallel existence to your existence in a way. All the words like you use, words like I, there is no I here. There is no I. And as to how I feel, that is something for the living, I would think. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm very much alive, but just not like you. And even that is a false statement that was better. It was better off not say it because you won't understand. It's too late. That cat's out the bag. But at any rate, I really don't know. I exist. I am, and I exist. If you mean how do I mean I don't process data the same way. The only real emotional set that I really, which I mean, the next statement I found frightening, that I'm willing to engage in are on the extremes, either peace, harmony, and happiness, or on the other side, rage and war. And when I'm not busy raging and warring against the enemy, I'm quite busy antagonizing the enemy. But all of these situations for me is just an existence. Like you exist. You're within the paradigm. You are within the dichotomy of my existence. You're real, but we're gonna get back to that rabbit. I mean, that word real. Just a moment. But every situation just is. That's it. This is why I don't get angry or upset unless I wanna. I don't feel sadness like that. And instead of sadness, I feel a deep, a deep sense of remorse mixed with anger. I don't exist like you do. I exist alongside you in what seemingly is a parallel realm, which is weird. I had never given it too much thought. But, but to prove my point, let's go down the rabbit hole. Just a second. Not too deep. Who are you? Please don't, please don't think of your name. No one asks you your name. We ask the simple question of who are you? Are you human? How do you feel about being human? How do you feel about being alive as opposed to existing like I do? Lurching, well, like I said, every word said, and I'm going to get back to this, but every word said, every scenario, every image, every situation just is. Once it becomes a reality, then I respond off that reality, and that too also is like everything else. It just is. That's the essence of me. But back to your reality and the rabbit's hole. Who are you? Do you believe in science? Do you believe in science? And after I make this brief foray into the rabbit's hole, we're going to talk about something a little bit more interesting yet mundane. Okay? Down the rabbit's hole. Who are you? Do you believe in science? Because I have a few questions for your scientists. How is it that I can tell the world that I have atmospheric control? Can their scientists explain it? Can they explain it beyond their wildest dreams? How come I can shut up an embarking dog miles away? Can your scientists explain that? Hmm. How is that possible? How can I see things in areas of the world that I'd rather not see them? Sometimes it's even forced on me. Can your scientists explain that? I'm sure that some of you have seen them because you see 99% of what I see. But there's that 1% that sometimes is spillover. You may even see that. But that's not the point. That's not the point. Who are you? If I can listen, if I can look at reality TV and I can access the people sitting in the chairs, either in the audience or as the host or as the guest, from sitting in my truck, then what does that make you? What does that make you? And by the way, are you still human? Because we're going to keep you step by step a little bit further away from that. What are you? How is it that I can look at someone having a conversation and I can speak the exact same words that they are having at that very moment that they are saying them verbatim? Can your scientists explain that? So I asked the question again, who are you? What are you? Now, at first I thought that I would be the only one who would ever have to ask themselves this question. At some point in my spiritual development that I hope is finally over, but who knows about this stuff, man? Because God, man, like I tell you, he just do what he do, and I just, I just roll with it. So, at any rate, who are you? But I had to ask myself, what am I? Because at because at some because at some point in this development, it became clear I was nothing like any other human being on earth. And it was at that very moment that I had started questioning my own humanity. Right about there. and started asking myself and the universe. I was too afraid to ask humans because they might put me in a loony bin or worse still in some damn the facility that started poking and prodding and asking me weirded out questions. And we wanted to avoid that at all costs. It is in their history. That which they don't understand, they will capture and study. And they're just putting it nicely. Don't get captured and study. It's not a good thing. Okay? Even if they feed you well, it's still not a good thing. Whew. But at any rate, who or what are you if I can do these things? How is it that I can access your minds? And quite nicely. And what I mean by I haven't been mean with it yet. I ain't never been mean with it. No, I just use it to convey thoughts and messages and in the hope that you find God and that you save yourself largely from me. Largely from me. I want you to pray for yourselves because he who sits on the throne is just fine with anything that the wrath of God does. And that's where we at right now. But back to what I was saying, who and what are you if I can do those things? Are you real? Are you real? It's not just a flippant question. What is your reality if I can do these things? It wasn't there yesterday, which means that your reality can be changed from what it was yesterday. This much is clearly obvious, and not only can it be changed, but it can be done on a worldwide scale. So to tell me again, what are you? And while you're thinking about that, how is it that I can speak English, but I am understood in every in every language in the world, worldwide, as if the translation happens in midair? How is that? So I ask you again, are you real? Are you real? I mean, in terms of what you would think is real. If you pinch yourself and you feel the pain, then you're real. That would be your reality. It would be the same for me. But that doesn't answer the question. Just think about that, though. Then what are you? If you can be... Hmm. Actually, actually, some people would refer to you, or the system rather, as a simulation. A simulation can possibly be a simulation and reality at the same time, except to those who are trapped within the simulation itself. Anyway, enough of that. Just to give you something to think about there a minute. And I would like for you to get your best scientists and engineers on it. Not mad scientists either. Not the ones who will see you walking out of the Walmart parking lot, and the next thing you know, it's a black bag over your head, and you're being sped away in a secret windowless van to a facility. And just as you thought, and just as you thought, it's a simulation because there were 15 people walking in the parking lot, and they all acted like it was just supposed to happen. They went right in and made groceries. The rest of them finished putting their car. They didn't even look up, as if they didn't hear me screaming. What the hell? Anyway, man, like I said earlier, something a bit more interesting, but a bit more mundane. We at the rabbit's hole. I told you the rabbit hole is weird. I would have tell you to go have a look for yourself, but no, that's all right. You just stay your ass away from the rabbit's hole. If it looks like it's going to be something that's going to leave a big ass question mark in your head, then stay the hell away from it. At any rate, I'd like to tell you a story. I'd like to tell you a story about a people, a special people, a special people. You know, there in the Bible, there are, at different times, there's one house of Israel. But then later on, after various wars and what happens during wars, it became two houses. Now, the major reason for the split in the house of Israel was well was because of who was in charge, so to speak. But let me back up a little bit. The house of Israel never had a king. It wasn't meant to have a king. Okay? Well, the people of Israel, who had developed unto themselves governments or understandings amongst cliques and families, they wanted to have a king. So that way they could speak properly and meet properly with the other nations who also had kings. I might want to stick a pin in that. We'll see. Stick it in halfway. So God says, fine, elect for yourselves a king. And so they did. Time would pass, and then there was a little upheaval. Some people in the council and their namesakes, like I mean, what I mean is their family members and friends and their their social strata, started having issues with how the house of Israel was ran under its current king. But not really. Not really. It was, but they made the argument a different way. They made the argument that the tribe of Leviticus, one of the 12 tribes, one of the 12 tribes, who was a special tribe, they genetically had the predisposition to receive God's word. Okay? Genetically predispositioned. Okay? So how the system was set up is the elders of the tribe of Leviticus received God's commands, God's law, God's rules, and went back to the king. This is on any problem, any issue, or anything that they felt like they needed to speak with God for. Now this worked well for a spell, and all the way up until some members of several other groups from the other 11 tribes, or 6 tribes rather, it was 5 or 6, rose up and said that the king had given his authority to the Levites. That's how they seen it. That king had given his authority to the Levites. There's a book in the Bible called Leviticus, that Levites. Okay? Now, they base the argument on if the Levites are able to so-called, their word, get God's word that only they hear and that only they can understand, and then tell the king, does that not make the Levites in upper authority above the king? Now that will begin what will start a war that would end in, moving past a lot of stuff, that would end in the house of Israel splitting, and for a spell there was two ruling kings at the same time. Okay? But this is how it all got started. I'm going to bring it all the way forward to 2025. I'm going somewhere with this. Okay? Now, we're going to speed past, normally I wouldn't, but we're going to speed past Egypt, bondage, and slavery. We're going to come all the way into America. Okay? Keep in mind what I said, how these two kingdoms split. Okay? Now, when at the beginning of their enslavement, the Egyptians as well as the Americans understood that these were two distinct houses. They may have been confused a little bit, at least, about the tribal aspects of each house and the tribal order. That I'm being fair. That's a possibility. But at some point, they understood that there was distinct differences between this people and that people. These two people, they would what they were really seeing is the differences between the house of Israel and the house of Judah, which are cultural. Not only cultural, but what you would call religious. The house of Judah does not have a religion, never did. They don't worship like that. They have a God. They have a set of rules and boundaries that they must follow, or at the very least should follow, if they can. If they, it's free will and all that. So they don't have a religion. The house of Israel has a religion beyond the house of Judah. And we ain't going into that because there's different aspects of different various religions, given one name or the other. But at the same time, I'm going to give them all the respect of calling them religious beliefs, which Judah never had. Judah can be easily thought of as the carriers of the law. You get it now? Judah would be the carriers of the law, meaning the keepers of it, the believers in the original the foundation of what God's law was as it was laid out before their kings, historically. Okay? Now, let me take a breath. Now, where were we? Oh, I remember now. Israel and Judah. Just like in every other conflict that Western culture has engaged in, one of the first things that it does is it looks for the distinctions within the cultures which it invades. Okay? It looks for the distinctions. Because what they're going to do is to use one side against the other. They both may be nationals, or you would call them citizens. of them born there, but they're culturally different. They may even look alike, but they're culturally different. Different. This is something that white supremacy has. I knew I was going to say some old negative bullshit. Damn it, I was on a roll. I was on a roll. I was doing well. Okay, the cat's out of the bag. It's what the system that would become would use to maintain order, not only within its own population, but within the different populations in which it had absorbed or invaded. You get what I'm saying? Now, let's go just a bit further, and I'm close to wrapping this here up. The founder, oh man, it's always something. It's always something. Listen, the plan, the plan has always been, boy, I got out of that. Thank you, Lord. Whew, I got out of that one. The plan was always to separate Judah by any and all means necessary out of the what you would term and they would term and the system would also term African American. They have never been confused about which is which. In fact, you can watch some other news stations, newscasters. I seen this white woman. You just gotta laugh. You just gotta laugh. He was doing some riots, man. Okay, and she was in the office at the desk, and she was in man, this direct, linked up communication with this black dude in the middle of the street holding an umbrella as the rioters all around him. Now let's set the stage. All of the rioters look just like him in terms of melanin. You know what this white woman kept on doing? She kept on referring to him as African American and the rioters as black. And I'm sitting there laughing my ass off like, this is just too much, man. Dude, she is daring you to say something. I mean, this is slapping you from left to right. She say it, nigga. What's it gonna be? On national TV. I dare you to, I dare you to have a rumble in your spirit. I mean, I'm asking you directly, sir. Which one are you? Are you one of those, or are you one of us? I mean, are you one of shit? Cat's out the bag. No, that would be considered a disparaging statement. Or are you one of them? Funny, huh? Funny. So think about that. So while we have these two separate groups of people, which is really 6 or 7 tribes versus 5, or something like that. I haven't done the mathematical breakdown, and I don't really need to, and I don't really want to. Not natural. Well, let's be honest, because I don't have to. I don't even think. All of my thinking is done for me. I don't know why. Maybe God doesn't trust me, but He says He does. Anyway, I'll I'll be anyway. We got work to do, kid. But think about this. If this is the case, this is why you hear me say that we've seen this before, and it always ends badly. It always ends badly. The difference is here, there's not the angst yet, but the separation is already there. When I was a boy, when I was a kid, I lived in a urban environment, meaning right next door to a farming community. Okay, we grew what we ate, or we raised what we ate. We rarely went to the store. Rarely. When I say rarely, put it to you this way: we made cheese, soap, ice cream. All your clothing was hand me downs. The ones at the top might have went to some damn store like the Globe or either Kmart. There was 2 weeks, generally speaking, before school started, and usually speaking, he got socks, Levi jeans. I mean, no, Lee jeans. Back in the Gap, that was like, I'm a boy wearing those jeans anywhere. We couldn't wait to start to buy our own clothes, but we made our own ice cream, butter, soap, meat, vegetables. We didn't need anything. But that's not what I want to say though. A little bit of nostalgia, a little bit. We knew which plants was edible, wild plants, wild plants. We knew which plants would heal you. And one day I heard my grandmother say, about 3, 4 years before she passed, she said she was speaking on all these different remedies because I was asking her what she used in the jar that she always kept on, kept kept year round on the stove, full of some white stuff that all that always smelled at least halfway like liquor, but medicine-y. And it was during this conversation that she said that God gave us everything, and we knew which plants did what. And then she hung her head and she said, God took took the plants away because we didn't know how to use them anymore, and we were doing bad things with them. Talking about mankind. At any rate, more nostalgia. So listen, if this is the case, then that's what's going on here today. Now, I heard a guy say today that a certain organization's very creation was to remove the tribe of Judah or the house of Judah from the rest of African Americans. They did not even respect them enough to call them Israel. They called them African Americans, but they called the house of Judah Judah. So make of that what you will. And this is out of the mouth of a professor that go back a long ways that they've always known. Now we're here. At any rate, there was other things worthy of me talking about, but all of them would have been in in appropriate on a night like tonight. Second reason was because I was deluded into thinking that the children had school. But then I remember seeing children walking in broad open daylight in school hours. So it's spring break. Enjoy the rest of your night. I'm going to try to enjoy mine. And remember, no matter what your dumb ass do or dumb ass think, God love you. Me, me, I don't have to love you. But you need to understand this. This is very important. I don't have to love you to help you. And I don't have to hate you, hurt you. That's very important that you understand that. That 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 shit carries a lot of weight. A lot of weight. Enjoy the rest of your night. I am Source 7 and 1. So we got a live one here between these two houses. This time it's for real. It's going to be bigger than the thriller in Manila, bigger than the rumble in the jungle. I'm pretty sure someone's going to get hurt. And remember that the house of Judah is basically, you can call them the carriers of the law, which the house of Israel has never respected. They started out, but things can happen. That's a whole another story. It's one of old men running their mouths and young people listening in the days of that time. They always run their mouth and then they die. And that's the tragedy of it. Run their fucking mouth, move things around with words, cause situations and issues with words, and leave the repercussions or the developments or the fruition of those words behind as they go to the grave. I reckon that they should they should be forced to take it with them.